Hi, and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm making an easy, versatile, one-pot dinner, hamburger soup. Today's video is in collaboration with my friend Erin from the channel Big House Tiny Living. Erin and I have been friends through Instagram and YouTube for the past 6 months or so because both of us, Erin publicly and myself privately, have been going on a bit of a minimalism journey. Now, I don't talk about this at all on camera, but behind the scenes, I have been trying to become a little more minimalist in my lifestyle, just not holding on to things that I don't love or have a use for, and in turn, feeling at ease with having less in my home. And I know Erin feels the same way. She is a decluttering queen, and she wants to help you with that too. Erin just started her own business too, called Starting Simple, and she's a simplicity and minimalism coach, which I think is amazing and so needed these days. So Erin and I decided that we wanted to do a video about something simple, and of course on my channel I cook, so we thought a very simple meal. And of course now everyone is looking for simple recipes where you can kind of substitute ingredients as needed and just work from what you have at home. So I will be sure to link all of Erin's information in my description box below. I'll have her website for her business, Starting Simple, her Instagram handle, and of course her YouTube channel. So after you watch this video, make sure you go and check out Big House Tiny Living. To start our soup, we have to prep a few veggies. Now right away, you can kind of choose your own adventure with this soup. If you have potatoes, use them. If you don't, that's totally fine. I had a couple that you could see definitely needed to be cooked before they just totally went bad. There's all kinds of spots and stuff in them, but they still had a firm texture and they tasted great. My husband really liked how I cut the potatoes into very small cubes. Plus this just helped them cook faster too, so I would recommend dicing them pretty small. And then I also had a couple cloves of garlic on hand, so I chopped those up too, just for some extra flavor. And here's our first instance where if you don't have fresh garlic, you could just use dried. And just so you know, 1 clove of fresh garlic is the equivalent of a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Next, we're cooking up our ground beef, and I have a pound here. You could also substitute sausage if you have that on hand. That would have great flavor and also similar texture to the ground beef. Then I added about a cup of frozen onions. This was a fresh onion that I had a few weeks ago that was going bad, so I diced it up and froze it until I had an opportunity to use it. And then the garlic went in as well, and I used a wooden spoon to break up the ground beef, and I browned it until it was cooked through. I also seasoned up the meat with a little bit of salt and pepper, and you can season the soup to taste as you go along. Once the meat had browned and the onions and garlic had softened, I used my turkey baster to drain any of the excess grease. Next, I'm adding a couple of spoonfuls of tomato paste. If you don't have this, it's totally fine. The broth is still going to have a nice rich flavor. You could also add in a couple tablespoons of ketchup too for that tomatoey flavor and thick texture. Next, I'm adding in 4 cups or 32 ounces of beef broth, whatever kind you have. Mine happen to be low sodium. Also, if you have water and beef bouillon cubes, you can use that. I added in a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes, including the juices, and then I filled that can back up with water and added that too, just to kind of bulk up my broth. Next, I added in about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, which has a really savory, rich flavor to it. And then I just reached for some dried spices that I had on hand. I added about half a teaspoon of dried basil and dried parsley. If you have Italian seasoning, that would work well here. Also, oregano or rosemary would be tasty too. Next, I added in my diced potatoes and 1 bag of frozen mixed vegetables. You can also use canned vegetables here or any fresh veggies that you're looking to use up. I think zucchini would be really tasty. If you have fresh carrots, throw those in. This part of the recipe is very flexible. Then you just want to stir everything together, put the lid on and bring it to a boil, and then reduce the heat and allow the soup to simmer probably for about 20 minutes until the potatoes are cooked through. Now you've probably realized as the recipe has progressed that this soup isn't supposed to taste like a hamburger, but it just starts with your hamburger meat as a base or your ground beef. And then the sky is the limit with what you want to add to this. It is so rich and comforting. I actually just made this for a friend of mine a couple of months ago and her entire family just raved about it. So I wanted to share this with you, and I hope this is a nice kind of template of a recipe where you can use whatever you have on hand to make a delicious meal for your family. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Ann's Family Recipe, and give this video a thumbs up if you like what I made here today. Thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe.